We were made to be courageous. We were made to lead the way. We could be the generation.
I would like to say welcome marathoners and half marathoners to your inspiration dinner in Nashville. Since our inception, LLS has invested more than $814 million in research to find causes and cures for blood cancer. In fiscal year 2011, LLS supported research in the U.S., Canada, and 10 other countries with a total research disbursement of approximately $76.7 million. More than 540,000 people to achieve their dream of completing a marathon, half marathon, triathlon, 100-mile century bike ride, or hike adventure. Those participants have raised a remarkable $1.2 billion to support blood cancer research and patient services. A strong fundraising force with the active support of participants like you. So thank you. Now, I'd like to start off our evening with inspiration from one of our participants. She will be participating with all of you and is here with many family members who have come to cheer her on and show support for the reason she is here. I would like to invite Gina Stukenholz up to tell you how blood cancers have affected her family on a very personal level.
Thank you, Tammy, for the welcome and for the opportunity to share my family's story and my love for team and training. Before I get started, I have a couple of questions to ask you, so I just need a little bit of group participation. If you could just stand if whatever I ask is true for you. My first question is, how many of you know someone who has been affected by cancer? Well, I have good news and bad news. The good news is that I'm speaking to the right crowd and that you just gave me a standing ovation no matter what happens in the next 10 minutes. So if I fall apart from this point on, we'll be okay. The bad news is that we're all here for a personal reason and we have a mission to find a cure for cancer. By the number of people that were standing, I'd say we have our work cut out for us. Now, just a couple more questions to put things into perspective before I start. How many of you know a cancer survivor? Can I get a round of applause for all of our survivors? As a group of people committed to this cause, there is nothing we like more than adding names and numbers to our list of survivors. In fact, survivor is one of my all-time favorite words. One last question, and then I promise I'll let you sit. How many of you know someone who has lost the battle to cancer? Take a look around this room. Looking at this group of people in this room puts our mission into perspective. Let's take a very short moment of silence to remember and honor our loved ones who did not make it onto the survivor list. Cancer has taken away loved ones from so many of us. You can sit for good. Now, it's my turn to tell you how cancer has changed my life. About 15 years ago, I would have told you that cancer devastated my life. But because of this amazing group, team and training, I can now say that cancer has changed my life. You see, I had the most amazing and beautiful older sister and she was perfect in every way. She was valedictorian, homecoming queen, kind, sweet, beautiful, friends with everyone. She had started her freshman year at Creighton University in Omaha when she was diagnosed with ALL. Over the course of the next 16 months, she went through intense chemotherapy, was in and out of remission twice, but never lost sight of her dreams of going back to school and becoming a physical therapist. On March 18, 1997, my sister Stacy lost her battle to cancer. I'll never forget that day as long as I live. Now, I can look back and tell you that it was a beautiful and peaceful moment. Stacy had developed fungal pneumonia on March 16th and quickly started fading. Dad got the call from my mom and drove immediately with my brother and me down to Omaha, and we said the rosary the whole way down. We spent the next 2 days at the Nebraska Med Center surrounding her with friends, family, and an overwhelming amount of love. She couldn't talk, but she could squeeze our hands at first when we talked. We took turns saying our private goodbyes, and on Tuesday morning, March 18th, she slowly took her last breaths. I'll never forget. My brother Heath held her left hand, I held her right. We all circled around her and quietly told her that it was all right to go to heaven. She had been hanging on for us. We knew it because that was the way she was. She had yellow roses on her chest, the first flowers she enjoyed for a long time because of her weak immune system. Yellow roses always make me smile and remind me of her. Watching my idol pass from her earthly life to her heavenly one changed me forever. I was 13 when Stacy died, and let me tell you, cancer rocked my world. I spent the next several years finding my way through a maze of anger, fear, doubt, questioning, and overwhelming sadness. Over the years, the raw pain has evolved into a subtle longing and curiosity of what life would be like if cancer had not taken her from us. But for my parents, I don't think the pain of losing a child will ever diminish. I think maybe the hardest part about watching a loved one lose the battle to cancer is that we feel helpless to the nasty disease. With cancer, we often feel helpless, like we have no control. But we're not helpless. You are doing something. Committing yourselves like you have over the past few months is a remarkable step towards a cure. You may not feel like waking up and running 8 miles on a Tuesday morning is helping anyone. Oh, but it does. Look at the faces that surround you that committed themselves to the same cause. And together, we have made a huge difference. Since Team in Training began 24 years ago, 540,000 participants have trained and raised $1.2 billion collectively. Imagine how many research grants have been funded and how many new and improved treatments have emerged because of your efforts. Imagine how many families have been assisted through this program, and the lives that have been saved, and the support and inspiration. There simply is not a numerical value that can be put on that.